pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to the August 14th
There you are.
board meeting. I think it's the 14th.
Yes.
I think it's August. What? Yeah, that's all right. Potential spam. Okay. Announcements. Dwayne Kelly's back.
Yay!
Wayne Kelly, 282 Patriots Lane. The Conservancy, as of Friday morning, we were on schedule with construction. I'm sure we lost most of the day and whatever. And there was any damage done Friday night by all that rain because they were putting the forming up for the aerator tank. And that's all metal forming, so I know lightning today, I imagine they stayed away from that. I don't know that, but that's my speculation. But as of Friday morning, we were back on schedule again. We had gotten behind because when they went to drill under the road, where they were setting up on this side, they ran into an old main from the old sewage treatment plant that wasn't on anybody's drawings anyplace naturally. So they had to do some modification and change, bypass that and do some different things on getting the two lines that we need drilled under the road. So that they were behind about 2 weeks at one time, but they got caught up, and as of Friday morning, we were back on schedule again. Our meeting is Thursday morning, this next Thursday, 17th, 10 o'clock at the office.
Dwayne, what is the schedule on
Pardon?
that? What is the ETA on the schedule of that?
We should be done late spring, early summer
Okay,
of next year.
thanks. Floyd Township Fire Department. Jeff?
Jeff Brooks, Floyd Fire. Ken was going to do my report because I was not expecting to be here.
You want to read my notes?
I'll figure it out. 29 runs for the month of July. And I wanted to thank Todd Taylor. I believe they won the decorating contest for the boat. You telling this story, maybe they wanted to donate their winnings to the fire department. I want to thank them publicly for that. Also, M3 Outdoor Solutions donated and delivered all the mulch, a couple yards of mulch out to the fire department. And no charge to the fire department for that as well. And that's what I got.
I saw on a Facebook post that the best decorated boat was also going to donate their winnings to the
Well, I
Floyd.
learned more on Facebook than I do in people in text
Sure.
messages, so that, yeah, they want to do that one too, that's fine too. We're gonna-
Hey, it's a trend.
Yeah.
Maybe the person with the best poker hand will donate their winnings.
I wouldn't hold your breath. There's the big bucks.
Just kidding, I know, it's a big difference.
Yeah, we'll take all the donations we can, we'll take all the recruits we can take. We're doing some things right now with lowering the ISO for our station, which that relates, that turns into lower insurance rates for people out here like into the township. By getting our ISO down, we're at 9 right now. I'll be able to get down to 8, 8.5 real quick. There's a couple of things we're working on doing to get it down to 6, and that's a significant insurance reduction.
Awesome.
Don't hold me to these.
Thank you.
No, get it in quarters.
Let me see that note. Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
That's accurate. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, I just got some information that choked me out. All right. Neighborhood Watch. Ken, you got anything?
No report on that.
Okay, HLCS, Rick Miller.
I do have something.
All
Big
right.
news for us, HLCS. I'm expecting by the end of the month to complete a transaction where we're replacing our current printing equipment, and should be a significant upgrade that gets us much closer to the magazine quality that I've always been after. Part of that transaction, though, requires rewiring the office because the equipment also has 208, 240 power requirements. Ken's already approved that. Phil Case has been engaged to do it for us. So hopefully by the end of the month and the October issue, you'll see some good changes.
Oh, great, thanks. Elna, Jan Salik,
Yes, yes. we
the
are.
women of the woman of the week.
And we're living to talk about it. First of all, 471 people participated this year, which is really good. However, that's down just a tad. We had, I think, 497-ish last year. So we're still very pleased with the attendance and participation. We have lots of thank yous to go around, especially to the dock hosts for all their efforts and work in making it possible there. We did get 7 docks initially, 1 backed out, and so with a kind of family situation or something, and so we put a card in everybody's envelope. So that was a little different this year. I think we've done that in the past, but it's been quite a while since that happened. So without the dock hosts, we could not do this special event, so we're especially appreciative of that. And also to all of you with the POA, because we so appreciate the security that was out there. I had several people tell me they're so thankful for the ruling or the guidelines not to do any pull-behinds.
Yeah.
And that it was a lot easier to get to the docks, there weren't as many waves, it went pretty smooth. The gods were with us with the weather, so we're very thankful for that as well. Posted, I think today, Matt put that on Facebook, and so the winners are on there, the amounts are on there, the winning hands are on there. I know there's been somewhat of a concern or issue about that, but the criteria was also posted, and I think we learned that we will be posting that obviously in the future. Because we're playing not according to Hoyle, only because there were 10 decks of cards, 520 cards in each of the docks' bags that they were distributing.
I had to break into
So-
the extra one to, like, they were loose, and then I also had to break into one of the box
Yes,
decks.
which is fine. We wanted to make sure that there were that many so that there were options in the drawing. You wouldn't want to be the last person to get the last card, right? Because you're thinking, oh, it's probably nothing, it's probably a 2 of something. So you're going to have multiples of suits and numbers, kings, queens, and the numbers in the cards. So we were very pleased with how everything worked out, and again, very thankful for that. So rather than announce all that, like the winner did receive just over $3,500 and on down. And we really like that we do a last hand award because that kind of keeps people in the game. That they bring their cards in. And of course, the last hand, the worst hand is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Many of you know cards or poker or whatever, so I'm not even sure what that final one was, or if that was even posted. But so anyway, next year is the 10th anniversary. I can't believe we've been doing this for 9 years. But anyway, maybe we can come up with some special thing to do next year in honor of the 10th anniversary. I don't know. We'll see about that. I'm glad it's 365 days away till we do it again, but that's okay. Coming up though, a couple things we have coming up. September 7th, 8th, and 9th, we'll be doing the garage sale again, and food sales downstairs. To benefit this year, we have been doing the split with Hellnack and Heritage Lake Scholarships, but Hellnack has agreed not only to provide their half or our half of the income from the May sale, but also all the monies for the scholarships, for the garage sale, next month will all go to the Heritage Lake Scholarship Program. At your September board meeting, I hope to share some information about fundraising for Heritage Lake Scholarships, because the Putnam County Community Foundation has initiated a program called Share the Dream, and we're hoping to do some fundraising for that. But that starts October, and so next month I'll share that with you. So any donations from the community we'd love to have. because all the funds will go to Heritage Lake Scholarships, to the foundation for the scholarships. Our committee, including Tom Novak, and Alan Zirkle, we don't handle any scholarship funds. That is just, the monies go straight to the foundation. So anyway, that's that. The Wine Fest is September 23rd, and so that's coming up, obviously, after the garage sales. That's it. Question?
Really quickly, I know there were some questions before the Booker Run. We were asking like about how many boats were you thinking? We found out that there was about 70-ish. We were thinking it was gonna be about 50.
It's hard, it's so hard
It is
to
so
know,
hard,
because
but-
you don't know how many are gonna be on a boat. you know?
Sure, but just for future reference, if people ask in the future.
You did a count.
Well, we took the pictures from the dock, so we counted the number of pictures. There were a few we had to retake, but I also know that a few people came by land, and then some just skipped the dock completely. So I would say about 70,
Okay, that's a good estimate, I'd
Yeah.
like to know also.
yeah.
Very good.
Jan, if I could also say that, you know, I'd like to thank Sheriff Ball for letting me use the sheriff's boat, which was a big help. The people that did not get the information on the no tubing, we got stopped, was very, very nice and, you know, agreeable. Then once I realized that all the docks were from the East Fork that way, I did allow them to go on the north end, to do their skiing and tubing and stuff like
And I
that,
did see
so.
somebody down there, and I thought, it's great, because I knew none of the docks were at the
Yeah.
north end, so I thought, it's perfect.
So it worked out well,
Yeah, it worked
and I
out
thought it
well.
was nice for the sheriff to let us use the vehicle and the boat, and it all worked out.
And if anything, we suggest, let's next year have the same kind of plan, because it was worked out so well. You know, I heard several people say it was much better.
Yeah.
And I think that will help us secure more docks, which is a challenge, because in the past, people know it's been hard to do that, because people don't want boats damaged, and they don't want their docks damaged, and things rolling into, boats rolling into their docks. So that's helpful all the way around. Yeah.
Thank you, Jan.
You're welcome.
POA security, Ken.
There was one disturbance call, 2 suspicious people, 17 traffic stops, 1 civil issue, 2 administration calls, 2 property damage crashes, 5 animal complaints, 1 trespassing, 6 lockouts, 1 warrant service, 4 alarms, 1 overdose, 1 runaway, 1 child custody call, 2 thefts,
What they call it.
2 another agency assist, 1 deceased person, 2 harassment calls. Lake security for the month of July, there were 11 violations, 3 idle speed after sunset, 6 swimming off the boat without an orange flag raised, 1 non-resident on a jet ski without a POA card or no test, and 1 jet ski for unsafe maneuvers not in a designated area. That's it.
Thank you, Ken.
Did we lose a jet ski movie out there?
We did. Somebody hit it and cut the top of it, and it took on water, so we have to weld it. There's a gash in it about that long.
Garden Club, I don't see anyone here. Presentation of agenda. I didn't get any additions. I do have an addition if we have time. I just want to put a voice out there about what we need to do about information going to the community. There's been a lot of talk about that. So maybe towards the end of our new business, I'd like to add just maybe a short discussion on whether we're going to do email blasts or Clint has some ideas for our website that will automatically go to an email blast, if you will, and maybe automatically go to a Facebook situation. I think that since we stopped the email blast, there's been, people have been concerned. So we'll talk about that if we have time. That will be the email blast, I'll just call it that. Presentation of minutes, I'll take a motion to approve the July 10th.
Motion to accept July
Second.
10th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Take a motion for July 31st operations meeting.
Motion.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Treasurer's report, Mr. Dennis Barrow.
All right, okay, accrued income for the month of July was $234,562. Total expenses were $221,193 for a net income of $13,369. As of the end of July, our short-term cash balance is $944,201. And total CD and money market investments were $209,966 for a total cash available of $1,154,167. And then I'd like to introduce kind of a new key performance measure as a treasurer to announce each month, and that measure is going to be net cash flow for the month. I don't want to get into the weeds of accounting, but cash can be used both for day-to-day operations that contributes towards net income, but cash can also be used that goes to the balance sheet. So net cash flow measures both of those, and it's just a good thing to monitor. For the month, it was negative $9,683, which is totally normal for this time of the year, especially when we're in kind of peak season, but I'll be introducing that number each month also.
Thank you, Dennis. Board committee reports. We're back to you, Dennis, A&E.
Okay. For the last month, the A&E committee approved 4 decks, 2 revised docks, a new dock, a dock addition, 7 new houses, a fence, and a new porch and roof. So it was continues to be quite busy.
Campground, Rick Stevens.
Rick Stevens, 95 Victor Hill. Campers Village would like to thank Mike and Betsy Freiberger for their quick reaction and the Floyd Township Fire Department for their quick response on July 25th for the fire at the campground. Due to the quick response of these individuals, the loss was kept to a golf cart and a storage canopy. Also, I'd like to let everybody be aware, which you should already be, is that due to the increase in motorized vehicle traffic, the campground will be restricting access during bands and special events to only campers and the guests on the camper's guest list. All others will be asked to park at front of the campground. And a reminder to all entering the campgrounds, there is a 5-mile-an-hour speed limit and some roads are one-way. Pay attention to the signs. Please respect the gate personnel and campers' property. We are all here to have fun, hear good music, and enjoy the evening. Thank you, Campers Village.
Thanks, Rick. Cleanup, Jeff, you have
All
anything?
right, Jeff Blades is at 335 Patriots Landing. On behalf of Sarah Lackner, chairperson of the cleanup committee, the shredder event that was held earlier this month was a success. I don't have numbers on that, but I do know it was a success. Also later, in September, we would like to remind everybody that cleanup committee will sponsor the clean sweep. There'll be no toxic items accepted because we have no way to get rid of those. But bring your junk, and it'll be at the same place that's been held at for the last several years, at the maintenance area across from the treatment plant. And the hours are going to be 8 to 2, and that's going to be September the 16th. So bring your junk to get rid of and get your garages cleaned out. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jeff.
And what's the date on that?
September 16th. It's a Saturday. The week after the garage sale.
Yeah, I'm wondering about our construction people. Our construction people are still parking stuff over there and using that area for incoming material and so forth.
They're usually right by the garage, those, I wouldn't think there's a,
Pardon?
I say they usually do their thing right by the garage, so I would think there's room for both.
Okay. I just didn't want to have a bunch of construction equipment parked there and.
Well, there hasn't been, so that's a good point. We'll need to make sure that it continues to be available.
Yeah, well, we've got a meeting Thursday morning, I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Government Committee, Rick Olson is not here, so I shall read his notes. Area 10 Agency on Aging requested funding from the county. Among other services, this group offers rides with Putnam, Owen, Lawrence, and Monroe counties for $6 to $12 round trip. Additional information can be obtained at area10agency.org, or Putnam County residents can call 765-846-1508, 3 to 5 days in advance to schedule a ride. INDOT approved funding for the Community Crossings Grant, which includes repaving Heritage Drive. After the meeting, Rick had a conversation with Jim Peck about the schedule for the roadway improvements at Heritage Lake. He estimates that the time would be completed, this work would be completed in late August or early September. During the repaving, one lane of the roadways will be remaining open. So when we do Heritage Drive, they'll do one lane at a time. During the double chip and seal treatment for the roadways, which is a continuation of each year, those roadways will be closed at various times of the day. So I guess just keep your eyes open if they're going to do your road. I will list some as we get further down here. The work includes repaving Heritage Drive on the east side of the lake, repaving of the roadway in front of the fire station at Heritage Drive to CR 700 East, and a double chip and seal treatment in the Gettysburg along these roads. Hancock Drive from Gettysburg Drive to Hancock Circle, Hancock Circle, Gettysburg Drive from Heritage Lake to Heritage Drive on the north side, Rappahannock, is that how you pronounce that? Rappahannock Drive from Gettysburg Drive to Gettysburg Drive west side. Rappahannock Drive from Gettysburg Drive to Gettysburg Drive east side. This section was originally scheduled for 2024, but they plan to do it this year while they are there. Lake Committee, anything from anybody?
Nothing new going on. We'll be shifting our attention to reviewing lake rules for next year that we'll submit to you if there are any.
Clean water, I don't see anybody here. Long-term planning, anything summer?
Meeting Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Wednesday at 6. Okay. Siltation, anything, Dwayne?
Wayne Kelly, 282 Baker Landing. Just the fact that we're done for the year, not like our normally done, we spent all of our money, so we're done. Just as a report, since what we do is not visible because it's all underwater, we spent $70,000 on siltation this year, but really the only thing to show for it is more dirt on the 30 acres. But our next meeting is not till October, and then in October we'll start making tentative plans for next year or what we want done. So what we normally do is sometime in the early part of February, I try to give Shannon an idea of what we want done so he can start just as soon as the weather lets him and get that out of the way.
Thank you, Dwayne. Okay. Move on to the manager's report. Ken Roselle.
Okay, the first paragraph I have here is got a little humor in it. First, I'd like to give a shout out and thank one of our lake security officers, Joe Tesmer. Joe used to work for me at Putnam County Sheriff's Department and now is with the Brownsburg PD. He was working this past Saturday on the water. So during this past Saturday, there was a member with a brand new pontoon that ran over the top of one of our buoys and got his chain wrapped very badly around his prop. Security was called and Joe determined the chain was wrapped so tightly around the prop that the only way to resolve it was with the help of Carol Bachman retrieving bolt cutters and goggles. Joe, sporting his goggles, jumped in the water, swam down and cut the chain, then gave their broken down pontoon a tow to the marina to be loaded. I just want to say thanks to Joe for going over and above his duties. Our maintenance staff has finally begun forming of the dock extension at the marina. Pending weather and interruptions, they should have this completed in the next 2 to 3 weeks. The pool opening is nearing an end with 21 days remaining. The pool will be closing on September 5th. If we have a couple of following weekends that are warm temperatures, we may open for limited hours only. After that, we will begin the winterizing process for the pool. Also want to let everybody know that the rental of the activity center has been blocked beginning the last weekend of September through spring. During this time through the winter, we will begin doing some renovation work on the inside. Some lighting, flooring, and kitchen area, entrance door, bathroom upgrades are some of the areas that we're going to focus on. There was $40,000 budgeted this year for this project. The lake treatments for the month of August was on the 8th of August and again on the 22nd of this month. September treatments are on September 5th and the 19th, and this will be the last treatments for the season. And at that time, there will be no lake restrictions that will apply. This is some great news here regarding Psalms. Finally, Psalms lease agreement for the month of July. Numbers were 12,496 versus prior year of 10,664, an increase of $1,832 over last July. Year to date, through 7 months, Psalms has paid the POA $50,989 compared to last year. Through July was $40,979, and that is a $10,000 and $10 increase over last year. Last year, the final 5 months of the year, Psalm paid the POA $24,914. The restaurant is on a pace to generate over $75,000 this year. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. We move into old business. Marina Clubhouse parking.
Paving.
What's that?
Paving.
Oh, paving. Yeah, you're right.
Park on the paving.
Yeah, well, that's parking.
Yeah.
That's under my name. I don't know. Can you help me here?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, we were asked during the, to get another estimate from the ops meeting. There was a gentleman that was in that business that Dennis knew. I had met with him, and very nice gentleman, very detailed, probably more detailed than any of the other two companies that I got, but it was a little higher than some of the other ones that I got. His estimate come out to doing the marina parking lot and the gravel area was $324,782, and that is compared to roughly around $260,000 that the other estimates have given. Now, the estimate for this parking lot here was $160,765. And he also separated it from doing the gravel all the way down to the tennis court parking lot, and that was $26,504. Now, one reason he did discuss maybe lessening that cost for actually both parking lots, because mainly this one, because this one, he looked at some of the areas and there's really not a base under it. It's just got a about a 2-inch overlay, and there was no base. So one thing he was talking about was using that as a base and putting a heavy overlay over this instead of grinding it up. He cautioned some of the other quotes. He just said he has no idea how they could do it for that, but he would question the thickness and watch the amount of thickness that was offered to be put on. So, but I've met with all three of them. This guy was just a little bit more, took his time and kind of explained things a little bit more in depth than what the other gentleman did. But that's where we're at. We've got 3 estimates now.
I think before the next ops meeting at least, I think Ken and I will review all these estimates, and we will send out some questions to the 3 companies and get those answers and bring them to the ops meetings and give you our impressions of meeting with these people and where we think we should go in the future. I think some of the highlights that you can look forward to is we have talked to at least one company about trying to get parking lots that will last in the neighborhood of 20 years. And so that we don't want them giving us bids for something that isn't gonna last that long. Now, we have one company so far that has agreed, at least verbally, to warranty our parking lots for 20 years. That warranty would not be a freebie like most warranties. That warranty would mean that their labor is free, but we would pay for material if something goes wrong 18 years from now or 15 years from now or something like that, which is an obvious thing. If anybody's ever done any blacktopping in their driveway, you know damn well there's 2 guarantees of concrete and blacktop. They're gonna crack and they're gonna go bad. But that's what we're looking for. We're gonna try and get these companies to assure us that somewhere close to 20 years, we're not gonna have too many problems with these parking lots. Secondly, we will look at the amount of material they're using, and we'll make sure that we're not talking apples to oranges. And we'll discuss those with these 3 companies. And we'll try and get that information to you at the ops meeting so that we have some information to move forward. As far as timeline goes, I would suspect you will not have to make it'll probably be a 2024 budget line, but we will definitely do it probably in the spring. I doubt if we're gonna do it in the fall. Okay?
And this gentleman with Hasco, Chris Hickson, he did offer at any time if he needed to be here or available by phone, that he'd be more than happy to attend by phone or in person if you have any questions.
Okay, next on our old business forum, we have tennis court / pickleball court. Ken Rozell's been handling that.
Okay, well, again, here's some good news that they are finally gonna, estimated start date will be this Thursday, August 17th. We met with them this morning, Anita Johnson and I. This project will take about 4 days to complete, and that will be The fourth day will be Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday on August 22nd. We'll need allow it to about 72 hours to cure before we jump on and play pickleball. The first day of use will be August 26th. During this whole process, AG Sports Services will chain lock both gates to keep people out of it. And once completed, we will have 4 pickleball courts and 1 tennis court. The total cost will be $13,893. We've paid $6,696 up front. This will owe a balance of $7,196 when completed. This project will fall about $6,106 under the amount we budgeted for in this year's budget.
Well, real quick, one of the things that we'll want to do, or someone will need to do, is right now, when they play pickleball, they take their chairs on the court. And there needs to be a sign up afterwards saying, no chairs on court. There's plenty of room on the outside of the court to set up chairs and everything, but that would destroy those pretty quick.
That was talked about.
Okay.
There's chairs out there now, but he just said that he would highly recommend no chairs, no skateboarding, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
in there, so.
Good.
What about, did anybody talk to him about maintenance?
Yes, he did. He said they did offer that, and we talked to him about that this morning. And he said that when they get that completed, we can sit down and talk to him about it.
So what is the date it's closing? Was that the 17th?
This Thursday.
17th.
He said, taking care of it the way we're taking care of it now, I said, you're good for about 5 to 7 years without cutting it up and relaying it. He didn't tell us that. He's not a big fan over, going over cracks and all that kind of stuff, but he said they do it. They fill the cracks and he said, you may, it's almost like a concrete base, and he said that you will get some cracks reformed from time to time, but he said you're good for about 5 to 7 years.
Okay. 218 Mill Springs, A&E variance. This is our second vote, correct? Go
Correct.
ahead.
Yeah, this is the second vote. We approved the variance last board meeting. To refresh everyone's memory, this is a house in Mill Springs. It's a major remodel, but it was built back, I believe, in the 80s, and they were allowed to build with a 25-foot setback from the road. Basically, the garage goes out that far. And what the current homeowners are wanting to do is do an extension out to that same point that has already been approved or allowed at 25 feet. So there again, we're up for second vote, and I'd like to motion that we approve the second vote for this variance.
I'll second Dennis's motion.
All those in favor? Okay, unanimous? New business. Portable storage units, Dennis Barrow.
Okay, this has been a topic of discussion with the A&E committee for several weeks, and we've discussed it a bit amongst the board. And the A&E committee feels that we need a rule or a policy for monitoring and managing the use of portable storage units at Heritage Lake. We have got a few instances where people have basically, they have portable storage units and they're using them for permanent storage. So what the A&E committee has submitted for us to consider is the following language. Portable storage units are permitted to be placed on the driveway of a resident on a temporary basis. The homeowner will need to apply for a permit, $20 at the POA office. The permit application should include 1, a plot plan or drawing showing the location of the storage unit and all planned improvements on the property. It should also include 2, the time that it is being applied for, 3, the intended use of the unit, and 4, justification for the length of time being requested. A request for an extension must be made at the POA office if the unit is needed for a time longer than the original approved estimate. So, open for discussion, board. If you have any questions or concerns. If there aren't any, I believe this will have to be voted for twice.
It will.
So I would like to make a motion that we approve the language as presented for the first vote to help monitor and manage the use of portable storage units.
Second.
I do have one question.
Sure.
One question, sorry. People who currently have these,
Right.
how will that be handled? Do we go to them and say, all right, now you need to go get a permit?
Well, I can't speak for the A&E committee, but I think that is their intent, is to say we have a new policy in regard to storage units, and it's not going to be grandfathered in, and you're expected to comply.
Okay.
I've got a question. On the last sentence, that's kind of vague. Is there any way that you could drill that down to whereby when a request would need to be made? Would it be made on the day that it runs out, or do you need it a week ahead of time? And who, do they need to include, how long, much longer do they think it might be? And then who would be the people that would approve for the extension? Is there any way you could include any of that today to say, just to make it, because it tells you need a request, but it's kind of vague.
Yeah.
I think for a few, if there's a whole new board 2 years from now,
Yeah.
how would they interpret?
Yeah, I mean, I'd need to volley it over to the A&E committee for them to wordsmith to include more in that. I'm not in a position to do that, so.
Are they gonna set a maximum? to
Well,
that you
they
can
talked
have?
about it a maximum time, but they just said, sometimes projects, you may have a construction project that you thought was gonna take 3 or 4 months, and you have supply chain issues, and all of a sudden, you're going through the winter and you need 3 or 4 more months. They thought about a 6-month limit, but then, sometimes there are instances where someone may need longer than that. So that was discussed about putting a total limit, but.
Okay, now that I asked that, there's nothing that would keep me from voting for this, because you could always go right back and ask them to improve it, and then come back again and say, here's an improved version of this, if you choose to. So,
I think under the circumstances, we might want to just table this and have the A&E committee come back with better language at the end there, if that's the way you guys feel. The other thing most things the A&E committee approves and the board then votes on is handled through the manager's office. Like if somebody, because he gets the calls, or the gals get the calls that so-and-so's got a storage thing in their driveway and they've had it for so long, that kind of thing. A lot of his work comes from calls that come into the office, because people know the rules and they want other people to follow the rules. And so, do you have anything any clarification on this? If that's okay with you,
Sure, I'm fine.
I think we should table and get that particular
Okay.
verbiage in there, and we'll bring it back. It's not, I don't think this is any
Yeah, this isn't.
crucial time here. We're just trying to
Yeah.
make it specifically, and they might, between now and then, they might have some ideas of themselves at the A&E committee.
So you
Everybody agree with that?
do it.
Yeah.
I just had one more verbiage thing, because it says portable storage unit. I don't see anywhere on there that actually, and I hate to even say this, that defines what is a portable storage unit. Because someone might call it a shipping container, someone might call it a portable shed, whatever, pack rat, whatever the things are, those little pod things. They may not consider that the same thing, and there could be semantics on some of that. I mean, I don't know if there's any,
I think that's a good point.
just
No, I'm right to argue and say, this isn't a shipping.
Well, as soon as you define it too concisely. Somebody will find another way around it.
Right, I just didn't know, I didn't know if we needed to have portable storage units, or
Maybe-
come up with a word that's even more ambiguous than that, that's.
Maybe you just put any portable storage containment units.
Unit or container, I didn't know. I'm just putting it out there. that-
Just any. Even- That kind of covers anything you're storing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, I just,
What about trailer? That's portable.
That's what I'm.
That's mobile.
Oh,
portable or mobile storage unit.
I think it should say something like portable storage units used for the storage of X, Y, Z. I mean, just say what it's for.
Someone's gonna say, well, it doesn't say I can't, store hazardous waste in my driveway, so I'm just gonna drop one in my driveway and, you know what I'm saying? I think if you
Randy's
get,
living out in front
I'm
of
saying like used for storage of materials for construction project. I mean, things like that, so you can define what it is. Used-
What if it has a lawnmower in it?
Why would you have a lawnmower in your portable storage?
They might be
unit?
redoing the
because they're
garage.
using it for permanent storage, it's their way of getting around having a
Shed.
a shed. I think that's what's happening right
And
now.
that's why you need to define what it's used for.
Yeah.
For the storage of construction equipment, or
Moving.
supplies, or,
Or household furniture while you're remodeling.
Right.
You know.
I could see a search warrant in my behalf.
I mean, they're having
can't
to
see it, Mike.
explain the
You can't see it, Mike.
intended use when they make the application.
well, that would just be a way of getting around having a
Maybe
definition.
place it as
of
a
portable
temporary
storage
storage
unit.
When you sign my search warrant, when
No problem.
somebody's gonna ask me for one.
I mean, I kinda like the idea of just any portable storage unit. I mean, that's whatever, and the office has to approve it. And the dialogue in the A&E meeting was definitely that, it would be managed out of the office. April would probably be involved in the process. We're trying to figure out how to make it easier on her.
Any other comments? Let's see what A&E comes up with,
Okay?
and in the meantime, you guys can think of, we can always add more thoughts when A&E comes back
Absolutely.
and vote on that, so.
Absolutely.
It's a,
All right.
it's a step in the right direction, we've got time.
Dennis, when you guys are discussing, put some thought, because I can see if you put some kind of a limitation on it, I can see somebody telling somebody to come pick it up for a day and turn around and bring it back. So that gets me another 6 months. It was gone.
Well, they gotta reapply. They gotta reapply, gotta pay another $20, gotta answer questions 1, 2, 3, and 4.
It's cheaper $20 every 6 months than it is.
Well, but they
rent
just,
storage.
They don't have to approve it
but
the
they
second
have,
time.
it has to be approved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
that has
point.
to be approved.
Good point.
And I think the office
No,
is
I
doing
get,
it.
no, I know.
I
That's
see
the
all
only reason
the,
I said the words, because I was like, there's probably somebody that's gonna twist that around and be like, oh, it's not that.
Yeah.
I see the angles all the time.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty fun watching the office deal with angles.
Yeah.
The boat storage is, or boat slips is probably a good example of that. All right. Thanks, Dennis.
Yep.
Emergency generator. I have AJ Stafford down here for emergency generator. Is that accurate?
Not particularly, but, I contacted McAllister Machinery about the emergency generator. He was supposed to have reached out to the office, anyway. They don't really have anything small enough for what we do. What CAT provides is too big. They said like their smallest one is 50 kilowatts or something, and the ones we were looking at were like 20 something. I didn't have any of the data with me.
60. This one here was 60 kilowatts.
Or something, I don't remember what he said. I asked him about how big the buildings were and stuff. More or less, I was trying to turn it over to you so you could give him all the right data.
Yeah.
And I gave him the phone number and everything. He said he was gonna reach out or something, but I didn't have that number with me, and I said, I thought it was 20 something, or was it 225s or something?
Well, the final one that he gave us different options, but this one, he he thought made more sense going to a Kohler, and it says 60 kW. I guess that's kilowatts. I am
Maybe
no
I,
elect-
maybe I read or remembered something wrong, but he kind of caught me off guard when he called me back. So I can reach back out
But
to
the-
him again.
But the one with the MGS, Midwest Generator Solutions,
Yeah.
theirs was about 41,000, and that was to do about all of this building and a portion of that building.
Yeah. McAllister does all the lift station generators out here. So that was the only reason why.
But what we need is
It might be,
too small for what they supply.
well, no, I'm just saying, with that information, he said the smallest one he had was 50 kW.
Oh,
And I thought we needed 25,
oh,
from what I remembered in my, brain in the middle of the day. So, like I said, I'll reach back out to him. I didn't want to give him your cell phone number, so
there was,
I
there
just gave him
was,
the office number.
maybe where you got that was this one here was 26 kW.
Yeah.
And that was just to do, I think, the one building. So that was just to do the one building.
Okay. Maybe it's because it was on the front page of it, I remembered seeing that one. Anyway, I'll reach back out to him. Like I said, McAllister's a big company, so they might have something we can use. Either that or we can power all of Heritage Lake.
I mean, I would just, put it on for, the ops meeting for further discussion if we talk to that guy.
Yeah, I can call him back.
Or you can just send me his information, I can reach out to him.
Okay.
Say, hey, would you want to talk to me?
Did you want to sell us something?
Okay, so out of all these old business and new business, ops will be handling the paving. Tennis will be over. The A&E variance is over. Portable storage units possibly have some information by ops.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And then we will choose where we need to place them for the following board meeting. Emergency generator, we might have some more information for ops. And now we're coming to our final new business. There has been some discussion within the neighborhood, which actually incited some discussion between board members at the ops meeting and in informal meetings that we've had about offender registrations for the neighborhoods. So we thought we'd take tonight and address that, and so that hopefully the public will hear this, and if there's any more questions, they can bring it to us in the future. I think, so I'd like to have Alyssa Borchek handle this, and she's going to explain where we are with offender registrations.
First and foremost, I believe, at least to my knowledge, we have not had any issues stemming from anybody who's on the sex or violent offender registry. So there's no imminent concerns that have been brought up to me or I think anybody else.
Not in the past 14 years.
Right. Now, also, if somebody believes a crime has been committed or is currently being committed, of course, please call 911. First and foremost, always. Now, on a state level, the regulation of sex offenders, including their residences and places of work, are controlled by state statute, not by ordinances and not by restrictive covenants. So citizens of the state of Indiana, including anyone here in Putnam County, you all have the ability to access those listed on the state sex and violent offender registry. This website, which you can access through the Putnam County Sheriff's homepage, lists offenders' names, photographs, home, and work address, as well as what type of crime they committed. So this allows every person to have access to the name and likeness of these individuals listed on the registry, as well as the location of their residence and the location of their work. These locations must be kept updated by the individual, or those people risk possible criminal charges. Now, it's in our best interests to rely on the regulations placed on sex and violent offenders set in place by the state legislature and regulated by the proper entities, including those here in this county that work for the sheriff's department that specifically oversee those who must register. So leaning on them is the most efficient and effective thing to do. If you have any questions about how the registry works, I would encourage you to call the sheriff's department. Now, as far as putting additional prohibitions on people to be able to access community sites, it's important to think about a few things. First, prohibiting homeowners or lot owners who are on the registry from accessing our community property would have to be done through a change in the restrictive covenants and could potentially be considered unconstitutional due to, for one thing, ex post facto concerns. And through laws here in Indiana, that's been specifically addressed in the Supreme Court of Indiana in a Wallace v. State decision, which has a long 7-factor analysis. So there's also other legal challenges that have been raised in Indiana courts. The courts have addressed these legalities of such restrictive covenants, and there's mixed results. So it's not as easy as passing a vote. And here we also know how hard it is to get a vote passed. So we are a unique private community. Thus, anyone accessing any of our community areas must be a homeowner, a lot owner, or a guest. So while we think of scenarios where someone from the outside who happens to be on the registry comes here with some ill intentions on the playground or beach, those people aren't allowed here anyway. So we should all be aware. We can access that registry. We know who's here. We know who's supposed to be here. We can ask them or call Ken or call 911 if you think a crime's being committed. We all often talk a lot about policing ourselves, and we tell the community, ask somebody if they have their POA card, or just be aware of what's going on. We're not a public park in the middle of a community and who doesn't know who's coming in and out. We should know who's coming in and out. So again, if you see something questionable, report it to the proper authorities. I think that's the end all be all. I mean, we should just be aware.
Isn't there a avenue for citizens to contact the Putnam County offender, or is it the probation office where they can make reports? Like if you have
I would call the sheriff's department. So the sheriff's department has employee that oversees the sex and violent offender registry, and they know everyone who's on it.
Okay.
So if you are concerned about an individual, say there's a homeowner or lot owner here in the community that you're concerned about what they're doing and they're perhaps not registering correctly, call the sheriff's department.
or they're doing something in violation of what is already their restrictions.
Right,
as
because
part
they
of
have
their probation.
correct. Well, they're not necessarily on probation if they're on the sex offender registry. Those are two
Oh,
different
that's
things.
Okay, thank you.
Just for the record, Alyssa, would you just tell the cameras and the
Oh,
people
yeah.
here who you are?
Yeah, that would help. My name's Alyssa Borshak, and I live at 114 Victory Hill.
And she is the,
I'm also a deputy prosecutor at the Putnam County Prosecutor's Office.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and also, could I get you to have the office make a copy of that
Sure.
for each of the board members? So
Absolutely.
each board member can have a copy of that.
Oh God, do I have to memorize it?
Yep.
Yes, for next week.
You're gonna be
Recite it
tested.
verbatim.
All right. Here we are. Open forum.
There it is.
Anyone have any?
Bulk email blast.
Huh?
You
Email
have a
blast.
new business deed.
Okay, sorry.
I can start with that. I already added to the HLPOA website.
Can you turn your camera so you can look at you?
Not really.
Okay,
Not doing it.
Clint, could you,
Oh,
Go
Clint,
ahead.
32 Gettysburg.
and what did you just say?
I have added to the HLPOA website at the bottom of the front page a form that you can use to subscribe. It is not a membership. There's no approval required. You simply go and put your email and name in there. When a new post is made on the website, It will automatically notify you. It's completely elective.
Oh,
So
perfect.
anybody that wants to get the notifications can subscribe.
And if they don't like it,
They just don't
They-
subscribe.
or they can unsubscribe from that email. There should be a link at the bottom to unsubscribe.
And then I'm just gonna work with Ken and, making sure that whatever new posts are made are going out on to that email blast.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and that's helpful.
Quickest action item I've ever seen in the history of Church Lake.
Way to go, Clint.
Multitasking back here.
It's like
Thank you.
exactly 59 minutes.
So
Love it.
I guess we'll just see where we go from here.
So we need to send out an announcement to tell people about that, but yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a solution, thank you.
Yeah, and I think that that's a point of discussion. No way to communicate with the neighborhood is gonna be foolproof. Everybody complains that when we used to email blast, they never got the email. I even have not received an email sometimes. And that's not necessarily the office's fault. It is, and my email's good, but I found out that I had an old email in the office that I don't use anymore. That could have, maybe it was going to that, I don't know. But the point is, if anybody has any ideas out there that can enhance our communication with the neighborhood, this is immediate communication, not what's happening in September, or what's happening in December, or what's happening next spring. It's like, we decided a month and a half, 2 months before the poker run that we were gonna silence the lake. Those are the things that we need to get out to everybody. And so maybe this is gonna work. Again, we have to rely on people going to that website to give us their emails. So we probably should send out some type of blast to tell people that along with a new website, there is a place there to put your email if you want automatic notifications from the website. I'd love that. I mean, I'm gonna sign up for it tomorrow because that's a good way to do it. I don't go to the website unless somebody asks me a question and then I'll go to the website. If anybody has any other ideas,
I'll get screenshots from what Clint has done, and I will publish that news widely in both the highlights and all the popular Facebook groups.
Okay.
That'd be great.
okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else on that subject? Open forum. Anybody? Jan?
Jan Silly, 65 Gettysburg. Just a couple questions. I missed the time frame when you said, Paul, when the roads were gonna be done for Rappahannock and Gettysburg. When are they starting that?
I didn't.
Say.
I don't think there is.
I didn't.
I was thinking of.
It is going to be, it'll probably coincide with, there are two different groups doing both. Okay, there's Heritage Drive, and then there's a chip and seal, which is Putnam County. Heritage Drive is done by a private company, and so it's gonna be around the same time. It's end of September, end of August, September.
Okay, end of August to September.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the only thing I can say, we'll try and keep our eyes on that, and when we know specifically when they're gonna do it, we'll put it in the website.
That's a good idea. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to get good information from them. He was very vague at the meeting last Monday, and he said a couple of weeks, but that's never happens. So I think you're accurate and our best guess at this point.
Okay.
End of
Okay,
August or
and
September.
one other question I had, because you're talking about the temporary storage units, and you said they do a permit and all that. Who, just out of curiosity, who signs off on that? Who determines will those go to the A&E committee, and the A&E committee makes the approval, or does Ken, or the office, or
The committee does.
the committee would be the ones determining it was, okay, that's what it. That's it.
Tom, did you know?
Yeah, Tom Novak, 25 Mill Springs. I was wondering, has the Putnam County group completed their work removing shrubs around the lake that are interfering with visibility?
I would say at this point, unless you have something that you are not happy with, and you can call Putnam County road people, the highway department.
Should we
Because at
call
this
them?
point, that's, no, don't
It's a
call
problem.
him.
It's a problem.
We talked to
Yeah.
Rick and myself and Ken and anybody else that goes to these commissioners meetings, we talk to these people on a regular basis. They came out, they bush hogged, they're gone. If you got a problem with it, call the highway department. That's all I can tell you. We see them all the time and we tell them. There is something else, but, you know, all I know, I mean, I saw, we had a place that I had a question about in my own neighborhood, and one of our neighbors is out there cutting it. He's already cut it down. For what we know right now, this year, they're gone. Unless you call and raise hell with the highway department and get them back out here. Because they're doing it in other locations in Putnam County right now.
They were out here for about 6 days, and they finally got out of here, but I do know that it has been, wherever he's working at, it's been setting in that little lot across from the Fillmore liquor store. So, you know, they're fairly close.
I'm not saying it won't happen if you call the highway department. It's just that we haven't been able to get, as Rick said, we get 50-50 satisfaction. They're busy, and we're just another quarter. Yes?
I want to answer that too, because, but not at Heritage Lake. I'm going to say that my friends all around the county, I got good friends in Roachdale, Indiana, and when they have an issue, they have to call on their own. And when they call their good friends, one of those board members was a high school friend of mine, he'll tell them, call the highway department. So what you advise is exactly what the board member or the commissioner wants done, as he tells my friends in Roachdale. Don't call me, call the highway department and you tell them. So
Can you provide us with that telephone number?
well, it's the highway department, Putnam County Highway Department. Okay, I don't have it memorized, but that's what Dave Barry tells my friends. Just call the highway department.
Google it.
The Google machine.
I mean, it's not something that has to go through a formal process or anything. It's just that we're all citizens of Putnam County. We just handle it the way they want to handle it, and that's how they want to handle it.
Dwayne?
Dwayne Kelly, 282 Patriots Landing. On your generator, just as a point of information, Conservancy realized with power outages and we had storms, we have a portable generator on a trailer that we can move to any lift station if we need to. But we think we have one lift station that we need a permanent generator. And we were told, I'm sure size and so forth has a lot to do with it, but we were told the day that we order a generator be 10 months lead time.
Wow.
Whoa. Thank you for that information.
Yeah. I have that number.
Thank you. What is it?
765-653-4714.
Can we ask for an individual?
No, I've done it before, and I just tell the person who answers it.
There was nothing listed, it was just what's on Google.
Thank you.
Yeah, just call that number and they'll try to pass that on. You may get help the next day, or you may not. There's no guarantee.
Tom, another avenue is to show up to the commissioners when it's open forum time. State in front of the commissioners, and the
I'll be there.
Putnam County Highway Department is there also.
Yes, sir.
Rick Olson, 51 Mill Springs. First of all, did you cover the area,
I did.
the trans?
I read your report.
That's an awesome,
And
I didn't realize that for the elderly around here.
Yes.
That is a super thing. And then I just wanted to report an issue. I see a lot of stupid things being done around here, but this one took the cake. I was pulling some kids on a tube, and this idiot came up within probably 20 or 30 feet of the back of my tube. If one of those kids would have fallen off, they'd have been dead. And so I guess, so that's a statement, but a question, when we see that, should we report that to the office? Is that the best avenue to?
Probably the best thing to do at that time is call the marina. They got the phone number of,
Okay.
they got the schedule
Yeah.
of whatever officers out there. If it's through the week, there's only, we don't house them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week out there.
Yeah.
They're always out there on the weekends from about 10 to 10.
Okay.
But
Is that a boat or a jet ski?
It was both. Yeah. They were pulling a tube too.
Make sure you get a description, at least the lot.
Yeah, and I was so mad I didn't.
That's understandable.
But this idiot, and my wife got a video of it, he was just veering off, but it was worse than the video even showed, so, but, yeah. Anyway, okay. we'll call
Did he
him.
get it? I mean, did he get what you were upset about?
That's that
I mean, I was
transportation thing I'm talking about. Put that in.
And, I don't know, he finally
Thank
got
you.
off, so he didn't pass me, but, it was wavy and he was bouncing and, it's just stupidity.
Yeah.
So, all right, thank you.
I think we got the open forum covered. I'll take a motion. There will be a small, brief executive meeting right in this room. Take a motion? All those in favor? All right. It won't be long.